Thanks for joining us. I'm joined by our Vermilion-Lloydminster candidate, Saba Mossagizi. Thanks again for joining us here, Saba.
Thank you.
So in this race, compared to the other two candidates, you're a pretty fresh name and a fresh new face to this whole new riding. For those who don't know, who is Saba?
Well, I was born and raised in Alberta, so I've never lived in Alberta without the PCs. My job entails me traveling all over Alberta. I graduated in politics. I worked in politics before, but always behind the scenes and never the one speaking. So.
And I know you currently work with the unions actually as well. Tell me about how that job kind of relates to where your focus is.
Right. It has a lot to do with why I threw my hat in the ring there. Because we're dealing with a lot of people who are in layoffs, and there is really no job creation plan right now. So it's really frustrating.
Does it put you at a bit of a disadvantage, the fact that you're not from the riding?
Yes and no. I think because I have such experience all over Alberta, and especially smaller municipalities, I would think that I'd have a bit of an advantage. I do realize that the other two are quite polished, and they've been around for a while, but I do feel like their platforms, their ideals are pretty similar. So there is no real alternative other than me.
Now let's get to the real meat of this whole interview.
Sure.
Let's talk about the issues.
Yeah.
Looking back to the PC budget, the NDP, along with the Wild Rose, you guys were one of the most vocal opponents of all the changes, all the cuts, and what would the NDP do different?
Right. So we feel, and I do feel like I am an advocate for Rachel Notley. She is our leader, and we do feel like her plan is a good one. So the new budget calls for $1 billion cut from the healthcare budget. Without any sort of real plan to solve overcrowding. They're cutting over $100 million from school boards this year, and there's 12,000 new students that we know are coming in without any sort of plan as to where to house them and how to fund the new teachers that are going to be necessary for them. There is no plan. In trying to make the budget more well-rounded or whatever it is that their plan was, it's not working.
Historically, for Vermilion-Lloydminster, we've been dominated by the PCs for many years. Why is this year the time for change?
Right. I think that just again, traveling all over Alberta, there is a sense of things bubbling over. People are tired of the same thing 44 years. And with this new budget that came from an election call that came a year early, people are just frustrated. There's no plan to invest in municipalities provincially. There's not any sort of plan for the municipal sustainability initiative. People are frustrated, and I do feel that, and I feel like at the talk last night, we had a debate last night, people felt that as well. So
let's go to the issue that's kind of close to a lot of people's hearts here. Long-term care beds and the fact that we don't really have enough place to put our seniors in. What's the NDP plan when it comes to that?
Right. So when it comes to this, the new budget calls for cutting $60 million from seniors' drug plan and forcing seniors to pay for more for their medicine without any plan for long-term care beds. Rachel Notley's plan is to sort of ease overcrowding and support seniors by providing more long-term care beds. The goal is 2,000 in 4 years.
How will the NDP kind of pay for this? More taxes or more restructured with taxes?
Right. We need a restructuring and a tax plan. So we want to tax the highest 10%. We want to tax higher for the people who earn the most. Also, we want to adjust tax credits. So for people who create jobs, they would get tax credits in order to tie in with our job creation plan.
We shouldn't really rely on these, but polls are saying this might be one of the closest races we've seen in years in the Alberta government. Now, why do you think this should be the year that NDP kind of wins more seats, maybe kind of takes the next step on May 5th?
Right. I think, again, Albertas are brimming with a need for change. I think right now we have a fantastic leader in Rachel Notley, and I think Albertans who traditionally would have voted PC or even Wildrose are seeing themselves in her and her plan.